Hi everybody, I've got to give you a quick update. I was getting quite poorly at one stage, well, for a few months actually, and I was it complimented him on Good Friday of this year, 2019, I had an heart attack, and but you don't just simply get an heart attack, you get a lot of warnings beforehand, which aren't completely obvious at the time. Coldy, fluey sort of symptoms, you know what I mean. So obviously I haven't been doing anything for YouTube for quite a while now. However, I really do feel I've got something to contribute to everybody, and as a result I'm going to give it another crack. Could have been really rather poorly. It's September now. I've decided not to be in front of the camera no more. You look at sort of like Made in Poland and them sort of place people who do a job. I'm trying to think of another one, restorations, where they just film a restoration, and I think this is where, unless it's completely necessary, I think that's what I'm going to be doing from now on. However, I'm going to have a little tiny bit of a rant here. What we're going to do to this chainsaw here, which I bought for £20, is chop the blades. The blades are definitely dragging and in rather bad condition, as you'll see as we go along. It's on YouTube, there's many people doing this job, and to be quite honest and truthful with you, in my humble opinion, I don't think they're doing it correctly. They take angle grinders, them sort of things. This is not how you do it. If you actually look at the Stihl website, it tells you how to sharpen a pair of blades, and very good. It don't give you the full restoration of an old set of blades like these ones are. The machine was quite easy to sort out. I just cleaned it up and rest of it, and there's tons of muck inside here. Sprayed all the exhaust and dismantled this. You don't need to see that. Machines are still S85, quite an old model, about 20-25 years old I would imagine. But the thing in the matter is, unless I need to explain to you, from now on I'm not really going to speak on the videos all that much. I think it's detrimental to the channel. What I was going to say, yeah, you shouldn't be using power tools on these blades at all, really. And even if you do, it's just going to be a soft wire iron brush on a drill, just to take some of the gunk off. But we're going to get on with the job now. I'm going to show you some of the features of the saw. Edge trim, as I should rather say, and as we go on, I might just jump in and tell you some details. Okay, thank you. Right, this is the gearbox you're looking at. 6 screws in there, yes, and a further 7th screw, which is that one there, which is where you're supposed to oil it from, grease it from. That bit, we'll come back to that in a minute. No, actually we'll come back to that in a bit. I've just washed the saw, by the way, it's not leaking petrol. Down here, there you go, you can see the general condition of the blade. All they all started to clean up when I first initially run it down here, sort of thing. Some of them aren't touching. As I say, you shouldn't use power tools on these at all. They're a precision ground blade, and they run because they can run in close tolerance with each other. It's a difficult thing to explain to somebody, but 2 cutting edges coming together like that, and it's close they cut, the better it cuts. So this is what we're actually doing. It's still cutting, but when you see that dragging, with the build up of edge resin, you know, all along these blades, it was actually rusty. I'll give them a little bit of a clean up, and now we're going to move on and really make them work properly. Like I say, power tools is a definite out and out job. So we're just going to go into the video, and I'm going to show you how to dismantle them basically. One of your best items, hang on a minute, I'll stop it there and just right, this is a Stihl multi-tool, got 2 spark plugs. I think it's a T20, it doesn't matter. It's one of the finest items you can use when you're doing with one of these saws or a chainsaw or anything. Buy yourself one, get yourself one, get the genuine Stihl one. The proper torques are there. It's very, very tempting to use impact drivers and stuff, and a lot of people in America, and I don't suppose there's anything particularly wrong in it, but I will say this: some of these bolts are like screw type bolts, and what they actually do is hold into plastic, and these cases at the end of the day are alloy, and they have to be respected, and that is the perfect tool for doing the job. And people will disagree with me, but I think it's better to just use the right tool for the right job, and I believe it, strongly believe in this tool as being the right tool for the right job. Gives you the right torque by the length of the spanner. You can't over torque a spark plug with it, for instance sake, and like I say, you have to be rather careful with these things. I have stripped one in the past, and get yourself one for working on these tools, and get the correct Stihl one as well. It's all worth it, not that expensive. It'll save you money in other areas, which we'll talk about later on, but where this is concerned, you really do need one of these. Right, first thing we're going to do is remove this plate here. It's as I say, 6 screws. Don't worry about the oil one, try not to get in your way. Here we go. This is genuinely never been took off, well, not by me anyway. I think some maintenance was been done on this saw in the past. It's in quite good condition overall. Just slip these in my pocket, I think, for the best. I'll bring the dish out for the next bit. As you can see, they come out fairly easy. Nice. So these 6 screws have got to come out. You could perhaps loosen them with this, and perhaps use it. As I say, this gives you the right torque, really. Don't for God's sakes, don't ever tighten anything up with an impact driver on one of these things. It's not a really good idea. Electric tools is a bit of a no-no with one of these, really. Full stop. Well, let's get going. Nearly out. I've got some nice Stihl paint to respray this bottom. I think it's a slightly bad idea to put these sort of things on the bottom, like the oil grease filler. As I say, that's a personal preference and such like. That's what these 6 have got to come out first, like that. If you go about this the right way, it'll be an easy job. Oh, no, I'll tell you about it in a minute. Here we go. Actually, 6 screws off. And then we can, amazes me, I've levered, plied, used it in hammer. I think it's really, really good. There you go, off the cup. That's 6 off. In my pocket, secure. I might have a perceivable little problem here. No, it's not coming off. 1 second. Some tools out of shot. There we go. Now go carefully, there's a gasket under here. Never saw. I don't know what you can deem from that, but that's a gasket there. I think we'll get something to hold that level off. Right. Now we're going back to a case of visual inspection. You're looking for a good mesh between here, any missing teeth on this don't know what we call it really. I mean, drive wheel. That's the drive wheel. Quite easily replaced if you need to. And around here, obviously cleaning. It's rather filthy, as you can see. And so that's what we're also looking for at this point. No more to be said really. No, not yet. There's a shim plate here, look, that comes quite easily up, but these are all necessary and should be kept in order. One thing to look out for here, some saws have it, some saws don't, is in here, around these areas here, there's loads of little bearings. This one doesn't, so it's no issue, but the iron are stuck in there by grease, and you've got to watch out for them. You really have, because you'll lose them dead easy. And off the bits come, look, it's quite easy. So that takes us down to his main drive wheel. We're getting in there, we're getting into it. Okay. Here, there's a little nasty bend. I want to sort it out as we go along. But basically, we're going to be taking wherever these bolts are, and it's an 8mm and the Stihl tool to come off, and we need to take all them off, apart from, I just pointed out that one there because that holds all the blades on, so don't take that one off until last. Right, couple of things to tell you. There's a little spacer block that goes between the blades. It makes it almost impossible to tighten them up, over tighten them I should rather say. Firm pressure, job done. Right, that goes back to this thing again about the spacing of the blades, and most of them have got one in. I ain't got them all out yet because I ain't got the top blade off, but that's that. This wheel, by the way, just slots out. I meant to tell you that. There you go, that just comes out. I like to keep my stub in order as I'm taking it off by stacking it on top of each other in the right direction, and then you know where. Now remember, I told you to leave this one to the last because you need to. This is the one we're going to take off now, and he can be a little bit on the tight side. Yep, not too bad. Yeah. Now there is, at this point, a seal, or sometimes a seal I should rather say, round about here. So obviously with this grease being here, watch it, of course. Now you've got spacer blocks in this top bar with the bent one, the first block, and there's a little rubber seal on the end there, and what that basically does is stops grease coming out. I'm going to be straightening and restoring that. Then there's a spacer like that. Now you can, if you look carefully here, let me put you in, hang on a minute. In between here, there's these spacers which I spoke about. There's one there, look. Go in there because that's under that bar there. There's another one would have had a bolt on it. And by the way, I've taken the plastic handle off because it was just easier, and it wants cleaning as well. It's disgusting. So we're going to take all these little spaces out, put them on the nuts and bolts like I did the first two, which just literally fell out, and then we're going to get on and show you the rest. But you must have them little spaces in, you must secure them and take note of where they will go. But I've done one or two of these now and I know what I'm doing. But anyway, here we go. Again, there's a little spacer goes right at the bottom of there, so that goes obviously goes on a stack like that, and basically this bar, spinal bar, just comes off like that. Now we can dispense with the until chainsaw for a minute. And now then, what we're left with is these three bars. And as these are single inch blades, there's only one actual cutter. That's a bit more interesting in the middle. Well, there, like that, in between there. And they're not too bad, to be honest with you. I've seen worse. But these are the two flat masonry surfaces here, and on. Put that over there. Right, and there, but the two flat mating surfaces are the ones we're going to be concerned about. It's the way it drags. They're pretty damn dry if you actually look at them. Some spots and need cleaning, and that's the next stage. Well, that was pretty simple for you. Don't think there's anything. It's a case of cleaning now and the actual sharpening. So these will run beautiful when they're done. I can tell by looking at them. As I said, I've done one of the two of these in the past, and it's just how you attack the job. Okay, see you in a minute when I get set up, and you'll see what I've done. Right, this is the one that had the real bad bend in it. Well, fairly decent bend in it. These are the support bars. They're easy to tell which one put from the other, because as you can see, now this surface here is the surface that goes to the outside, and it don't really matter too much. All I do is put a bit of WD-40 down it like this. Have to keep them wiped over, obviously, and you give them a bit of this. We'll be using something else on the inside in a minute, but come to that in a minute. Anyway, and you can see you can really go and click. It's a matter of how much time you want to spend on them, I suppose you could at a pinch use a flat sander on them or something along them lines to clean them up even more. I'm going for serviceability rather than, you know, cosmetic, but I mean, you spend as much time as you want on them. They'll naturally scratch and mark from where they've been used. Well, anyway, that's basically what I do with them. The inside is a lot different. Now, this bit we do want cleaning up as best as we can. Spend a lot more time on that side than that side, but basically I think that's about how I leave. I've even given them a coat of VHT paint in the past. I don't know whether I bother on these, but you know, because this tool is ultimately for myself. As I say, you can tell the inside from the outside easily, and the back, and yeah, they are the same, absolutely precisely the same. So that's basically what you get on and do. Just clean them up till you get nice, serviceable, nice, smooth surface. That's all you want. It's nice, smooth surface on, particularly on the inside. Like I say, you can usually tell. I don't know if you can see it on there. If you look very carefully, there's like a burr on the bottom here, and if you do get them mixed up, though I don't think it'd really matter, the burr on the inside tells you which the inside is. But I'm going to say about that for the time being. So I'll go on and clean the rust off these, get them looking like that side there, and then I'm going to show you something, introduce you to a new tool which you might not have heard of. Okay. Right. I want to introduce you to this new tool, if you like, and I do consider them to be tools. They come in different colours which denotes how old they are. This is about a medium one. It's called a Gary Flex Blocks. It's like a sander. Tell you how I got into them was when I was into British motorbikes. You got crankcases and timing covers and such like that used to leak oil, and some old fella says you want a Gary Flex block for a problem that occurred. Well, it is, we used to get a old car window, put some grinding paint on, what you used for grinding the valves in, put the panels on, you know, the engine casings onto it, rub them flat. Sometimes you used to do it on wet and dry, wetted, that kind of thing. It had to be on a perfectly flat surface, which the car window is. Anyway, we done it, and I put it all back together. In a month or two later, I took it apart, and I found in there, embedded in the vents, the gasket material, small little bits of metal. And anyway, cut a long story short, these confused me where they was coming from, and although they cleaned it quite well, and it turned out that what was actually happening, the magnetic ability, even alloys got magnetic ability, unbelievable, was to stop there and cause a little bit and the finest granule stopped, then they was getting squashed into the gasket, and they didn't really like this because obviously they were going around the engine as well, must have been. Anyway, I was speaking to an old fellow who had been in engineering for many, many long years, and he said, what you need is a Gariflex bolt. Now, these do two little things. Because, in fact, actually, if you can catch this in the sunlight, you can see little bits of metal embedded in it. They're not only abrasive, they act like a magnet. And they get all this, any residue or anything off them, then they're very, very good. If you look, they actually polish the steel. I know you can't tell from where you are, but if you go down there now and feel along there, that is actually smooth and just without a bit of rub. So they're very, very good, and I advise you get some. Good old British product. The days of when we used to make things, as I've always said. And basically all I'm going to do now is run down the middle of these. They won't distort the bark because they're like a rubber material. And by the way, they're completely usable right down to the last noggins. Sometimes I use them like this lot as well, you know what I mean? You can use all of it. It's basically like a rubber with some kind of abrasive material, but they do pick up these little bits of residue, as I call them. Incidentally, while we're just doing this, I'll just sit here and talk to you a minute. Stihl products. We're going to be talking about this in a little bit in Enred. One of the Stihl products what they use when you're sharpening blades and stuff is called resin remover. And I've actually had some, I actually used it, and it's a very, very good product, but a little bit on the expensive side. When you're doing a sharpening out of dismantle there, this sauce doing my head in. When this, keep losing my train of thought with it, when you, Stihl products are very good, but they're very overpriced, and if you ever want to do a traditional sharpening like it shows you on the Stihl advert, they're promoting this resin remover, which does clean the blades, I agree with them, but it's blooming expensive stuff. Look it up if you don't believe me. Anyway, what I was going to say, it's this saw, it's doing me head in. It's chopping a tree down. What can I say? Yeah, tile remover for cars. Very cheap, run the car sharp, banging. It's the same as the grease. We'll talk about the grease more when I put this back together, but the grease, I just use an LM2 in there. It's exactly the same specification. I've had to check it out. As I say, I've done quite a lot of work on Stihl saws and such things, and I swear you don't need to buy the Stihl products. Just LM2, multi-purpose grease, bang on for that gearbox. You don't use it in the head of your strimmer. Needs a slightly lighter oil, and I would use the Stihl oil in that particular case, but you can save yourself some money when you're doing sharpenings and things like this by using the LM2. Gearbox, basically, I showed you in this bottom, I can't show you now because it's got the bits in, but the bottom has got this plug in, and what you basically do with the Stihl product is you take this plug out, screw the tube in and squeeze it. But the trouble is you don't know how much you pour in my opinion. The gearbox tends to get overpacked. I've took a couple apart where I found them really overpacked, and you shouldn't be doing that. There should be some space in there with grease to allow it to move around. It's a convenient way of doing it, I must admit, but I don't feel it's the best thing really. It's a big no-no on that front. But anyways, you pay your money, you take your choices, but where that's concerned, I wouldn't use it. LM2, can of it, about that size, thereabouts, couple of £3 from the local car shop, maybe a fiver at tops, and you can use that, and you won't do anything because I've actually looked at the specifications. You can do it yourself and you can have a look, and believe me when I tell you this, that is the case. Right, we're going to move on here a little bit. Now these are the actual cutting blades. People attack me hammers, angle grinders and all sorts of things. And if you look on YouTube, it's not good. That's your most important side. It's ground flat. So again, like you get that cutting, when you get that cutting motion, it's really good between these here. And even on the Stihl sharpening video, it tells you to file down here and then use a small stone on the back to get rid of the burrs. Well, since we're doing all this now in one fell sweep because we've got them apart, what we're going to actually do here is just start cleaning this back. So I'm going to clean this back and I'll come back to you. Well, I'm going to clean both sides actually, that side as well, to make them look nice. I want them nice. And then we're going to set about showing you how to sharpen them, and then we still have to clean the back again to take rid of the burrs. The burr develops on this edge here and it's not good because it rubs against the other one and causes wear. But we'll cover this as we go. Right. Right. Now we've done that, if you run your finger down here, you can't see it on camera, you never will, but round the edge of here, there's a little burr now. This again is where your Gary Flex box comes in, like that. Take all them burrs off. From top to bottom. This of course you do it on both sets of blades, and that's basically what you do. There's nothing more to it. I'm not using no power tools. I can assure you we've kept the back nice and square and flat, which is exactly what you need. A little bit more there I think required. I'm going to sit here a minute and put a point on. When I was cleaning these off with the pads and the oil, I noticed that when it went down here, in the middle of each one of these blades like that, the edge went clean before the middle cleaned, which tells me there might be a slight bevel in the middle there. That is something I don't know. If anybody knows about that, will you please tell me? It goes beyond my knowledge, but I've always been told to keep them flat, and well, that's what I managed to do here, I think. I'm very happy with these. Very little wear on these blades, very little. Right, very simple setup what we've been working on. It's basically a piece of wood clamped with this clamp to a workmate. What I've done now is screwed a couple of little screws in here with washers, and the blades open firmly. And you get a basic standard, as I say, medium fine. I wouldn't go with fine one. And basically now what you do is following the contours. Can you see that? That's good. Right, down each one of these. Obviously you have to do both sides on both blades, and that's the actual sharpening done. Don't use power tools here, please. You want me? This is where you often find people with angle grinders and stuff, and that blade, you know, that's been machine ground basically, and it wants to remain in the same. All you're doing is just tasting it up. I've got a little diamond blade I usually use for this normally, but I can't find it. And then a case of deburring on the back, which I'll show you in a minute, and done. And that's it. That's the job done. You can actually do this on the saw by separating the blades and using that. Stihl video will show you that. You know, I don't need to cover that. We've gone a bit further because we wanted to get these nice and clean. Like I say, deburring. After this, job done, and then it's ready to go back together basically. Neon. Also, make sure you clean out these little channels here. The little, I've got one here. Yes, of course we have. These little things which will be cleaned up as I go along after sliding them. Tolerance is quite fine. And that's how to basically, and this separates them, the blades like I've explained to you. Keep the blades at the right thing and torque, and not stop over tightening them. There we go, we're off. This is what we do. Dead easy. Just firm strokes. As I say, screw it to a piece of wood, keeps it flat, no chance of distortion, job done.